3.
For our final game on B Stream, we got an NA team. We had to get another NAL cast on here. Sure, it might not be me with Sam or you with Parker, but we were not going to let Soniqs get by without at least some North American representation. I am Lynx, joined by
Fabian. I will say I am not Fabian, I am Pinko, but I'm wearing Sam's hoodie. It was cold in the green room, so I'm kind of like half Samuel, half Pinko.
And Parker's my dad.
Yes.
So really everyone is on this broadcast. We have all of the NAL casters in and on the B Stream right now. To take a look at the recap for today at this point. This is the final match. NA has had a good go of it, at least in this stream. 2-0 over Bliss. Though my hearts do break because I do want to see Bliss doing well. Then we had 2-1 for Fury, who right now got 2 wins in their group, Nick?
Yep, 2 wins in their group.
Realizing that potential. We saw it Atlanta almost beating Dark Zero. And then, unfortunately, D+ still not doing very well.
And that's where you see the standings here. This is not the outcome I think most people expected back at home before the event started. Of course, Soniqs being up top kind of makes sense, right? But Lowe's a little bit further down. Scars are right now beating out on Falcons, but that might change later on because Scars and Falcons will face one another later on in the tournament. So, exciting things here in this group. To be honest, big toss-up on who's going to make it and who's going to stay in.
And I think really that Falcons-Scars match is going to decide who's going home at this point. I mean, maybe depending on what happens today, Falcons would pull out an upset. The group is more thrown into chaos, but if the expected result happens, which I think is we'll see the predictions later, look at some of these rosters, Soniqs are definitely the clear favorites going into today. Assuming Falcons lose, that Scars match becomes of the utmost importance. But if Falcons are able to overcome this monstrous team in front of us, NAL Stage 2 champs, minus Ambi, the new pickup, that will certainly be the biggest upset, or one of the biggest upsets of the group stage so far.
If you had to describe to viewers at home who Ambi is, what would you say, Carter? Like, very simply.
Well, they're showing him right now,
Yeah,
so I don't think I need to.
Who is this man?
Ambi,
you know?
So, Ambi is, I genuinely think Ambi is as close to like a kid as you could get in a new pickup.
But he's got a mustache. Like a
he
tiny
he does have a little bit of a mustache, a very
bit of
tiny
fluff.
bit of a mustache. But we've had 18-year-old pickups before. I mean, Bolo, big example,
Yep.
right? We've had Gunner as well, who was picked up. Pambazoo. And I think Pamba might also very much show his age a little bit when he was picked up. But I mean, look at Ambi. He's doing like, he literally created a secret handshake with Citizen that they will sometimes do after the other makes a big kill. Like, if that does not indicate the youthful energy he's bringing, I don't know what else would.
Yeah, and of course, with Ambi joining, there's been some role changes as well. Citizen now on flank watch on the attacking side, and also Citizen being the IGL, the in-game leader on defense specifically. I can say from experience back when he was on the G2 roster with me, he's a phenomenal player when it comes to understand the flow of the game, especially on the defensive side, whereas Gio can shine on support, on attack, and call from the front there.
If you haven't watched Sonic since NAL Stage 2, you might be thinking, oh, you know, sometimes we'll see Citizen going on the lurk, right? You know, we'll see him kind of maybe try to flank Quibs or something. Well, in their first outing against Scars, I saw him on Courtyard Winner on Border 5 times.
Okay.
So, very different state of affairs. But of course, their opponents, as I hinted at, will be Falcons, who, as of yesterday's game, do have their full roster, and thankfully, still have their full roster today. Hopefully, they will be a bit more adjusted to the time zone. A long day of travel to rapidly get here between the first and the second games. But still, they are put in a very rough position in their group going into this game against what is right now the top team in Group D.
Yeah, if you're Falcons right now, you're hoping for at least getting one map here against Soniqs. They're going to shoot you above Scars and give you a bit of leg room for later on in this tournament. So if they get 0-2'd here, it is a really bad position for them. They're looking for at least one map. And right now, on your screen, they are going through notes and strats to prepare here in the final moments before the server goes live.
And unfortunately for most of them, including the substitutes that are no longer playing for the team, it's a very consistent affair all across the board. But in this series, when the subs were there, when the subs were not there, they had the full roster. It has been a string of lackluster performances in Falcons' first 2 outings, even though they did have some success, able to get a decent bit of rounds against their previous opponents, depending on the opponent, that is. Soniqs Soniqs are definitely going to be, of course, the biggest test they face so far, but likely the biggest test they will face in Group D. Especially if Soniqs win today, they could be upwards of 3-0 and fully 2-0 victories, or 2-1 and 2-1s, and at that point pretty much solidify Soniqs' position as the top team in Group D. We have our maps. Nick and I purposefully did not look at these, and if I recall correctly, no, that was Chalet in the previous outing I saw against Scars. Either way, I have casted this exact pool before on Stream B so far this event with Oregon, Clubhouse, then Bank.
Okay.
This is very familiar territory for me, at least not in these two teams.
I've not cast Bank a single time so far at this
I've not
event.
either.
Okay.
It was just left up as an option. I didn't end up casting it.
Okay, that's fair enough. Oregon, very stable map, right? Every team can play it, not surprised there. Little bit surprised that it was left open by Soniqs, to be honest. I always feel like if a team is weakened, like you can argue that Falcons currently are, you wouldn't go to a simple map like Oregon against them and let them even pick it themselves, whereas Clubhouse and Bank requires a lot more effort. That I can more understand.
But I also think if you're Soniqs and you're going into this game against the Falcons, who in the MENA League have been constantly neck and neck against Geekate for the #1 spot to qualify for majors, and of course both MENA teams at SI. While Falcons are no slouch, you need to treat every opponent seriously. Soniqs, in theory, being NAL champs, coming from one of the strongest regions in Rainbow Six, on a map that is often about fundamentals and structure.
Strongest regions. I'm sorry.
I didn't say the strongest.
One of.
I said one of
Still
the
insulting
strongest.
as a European to hear. But
You can say Europe is the... Listen, you know what? I'll say it right here. I do find it funny that Nafe is the top-rated player on Dark Zero.
Wait, what do you mean that's funny? He's European, that's why.
No, I'm not saying it's funny like he shouldn't be the highest rated. I'm agreeing with you that it's funny that the highest rated player on an NA team is the new EU pickup.
I knew what you meant.
You derailed the point I was going to make.
I wanted you to clarify it for the comedy effect of it all, because I'm having a ton of fun with that. I'm so sorry.
Fine. Well, I'm not really. It's kind of, I'm just not even going to address it. The point I was making, Nicholas.
So you are addressing it.
I actually completely forgot the point I was going to make. Don't remember whatsoever.
I will tell you a new point.
No, I remember what it was.
Okay.
On a map like Oregon that relies on the fundamentals and structure, Soniqs should be able to beat them any given Sunday.
That was very clean.
There we go.
I like that. 89% of the fans at home also agree that the Soniqs will take it here up against Falcons, and I don't blame the vote there given Falcons' results so far at this event. Upper bands on your screen right now. Soniqs, they've been Ying to start things off, and Falcons will choose their first attacker, followed by their first and only defender.
Of course, Ying, one of the most banned attacking operators over the course of the entire year. I have to imagine I was going to say, all right, maybe we'll see a follow-up with maybe a Monty or Grim on Oregon.
Yeah,
quite a strong attacking operator. But the Brava, you'd have to think that Falcons are maybe gambling on Fenrir staying up, because I feel like those Bravas are just automatically finding those F-Knots on every single doorway, or any of those gadgets, really, that are stuck on doorways and make crossing harder. The Kaid band to follow up, we don't have any of those big 4 or 5 defenders banned just yet. And if you want to count Valkyrie, you can, but, I mean, we got Azami, Solus, Fenrir, and Tubarao up. I can't see that last one really being used without that Kaid on the board, but you still got the other 3 left up, and that itself is insane.
I was going to say, and mirror as well. I know that we can talk about how, Ashe and Kali now counters the mirror windows. If you use the gadgetry on a non-cracked mirror window, it'll crack it, you can't see through it, but mirror on the base and bomb side of Oregon is such a strong operator, and combined with the people that you said, like the Fenrir, the Asami, etc., it'll be very difficult to pick apart this basement defense. So we can very much expect both teams to get their first W down here, both teams start on this bomb side, but if the attackers come out as the victor, that'll be a huge moment for them, because they're not supposed to. It'll really help them on the attacking side.
Well, it'll also just be great for Falcons. A lot of us are underwriting. I mean, the community 11% in this series. If they come out with a win on basement, sure, that might be one of the only wins they get, but that shows, okay, they've come to play. They've got the skills. They've got some of that structure, and even if it comes down to individual gunfights, a win on one of the most defender-sided bomb sites in the game, Nick, I mean, that's got to say something.
Oh, it does.
Assuming it happens.
I just want to point out here that Geo actually ran all the way to the top floor, placed down a couple of jammers, and ran back downstairs, and might make an edge rotate here as well. So even if they won't commit to this roam, Falcons have to respect it. They gotta drone it out and spend a lot of effort on that, a lot of time to figure out, okay, is Geo here, is he not? And I like the Jackal here being brought from Falcons to just quicken that process.
There are a lot of operators on Falcon's side that can make any part of the round quicker. Jackal in the early round going for that clear, can see if any roamers have been on that top floor, which if he's on the attic side, might find Geo's footprints, but on the dorm side, not as many, and that itself will say, okay, it's clear. But when you get to the execute, you've got those Capitao smokes, of course, the Rotero drones to clear out those shields and the utility, but the Grim, as we were talking about, that's left up. Yep. One of the first places we really saw Grim start to be used almost every single attack was attacking this basement bomb site. Because of how narrow and constricted it is, those bees can propagate in the vast majority of the long haul with just a couple shots. And that gives you intel on players swinging, where somebody might be camping. Really just a great boon to the attack that's been left unbanned.
It is. It just simplifies the complications of the basement attack. And right now, it's a bit of a waiting game for both teams. Falcons, they think there might be a roamer, and they were correct in that Geo was early roaming, now inside a big tower. But then it's just you know, we see, for example, Jayla just waiting outside blue double door, holding a passive angle. Grixer on Freeze's staircase, holding a passive angle. Everyone's waiting for that first move to be made, and neither team is going to make it just yet. This is Falcons doing a good old style of siege here. They're just paying their respects, taking their time, going through their ABCs, killing default camps, opening hatches, etc. You want to get fully comfortable before anybody gets into a gunfight.
You can already see a couple potential avenues starting. We have Jay Loud, who's been sitting outside that bunker doorway the entirety of the round at this point. Used not all of his Rotero drones, but used two, got off, waited to see if anybody was rotating. Defender maybe getting caught on a rotation. No, not the case so far. Quibs now moving downstairs to join him for an inevitable seemingly bunker big tower push. For some of the attackers are starting to consolidate. There is some work to be done with operators who aren't exactly here. One thing you think about Nick that isn't present, no Hibana to deal with Geo playing in this position. Might have to be dealt with instead. Somebody walking out that tower stairs, but Geo's anticipating it. Those out of C4 to delay that push a little longer. We'll use the Grimbeast to try and find him, but Geo goes hunting with the shotgun. What? No kill goes his way. Still Soniqs holding the advantage as while Geo falls, J-Lad takes down his teammate just as Grixer takes down another. Falcons in the disadvantage. When you're going for an E-box drop, down a man, and the Soniqs can just trade you out, that's a rough position to be in. But J-Lad evens it out by cutting down Rexen. Now Grixer's to fall back as pillar control is in the hands of Falcons, and so is the round at this point. Soniqs just barely make it back into contention. There's only one player who can cover this diffuser as Mad Skills has to do double duty. Now falling off with the case, Citizen pulls back. The secondary shot he pulled out. Oh! The pre-fire just barely going over his shoulder. He hits the deck and knocks round one barely over the line.
That is way too close, and I gotta say, Falcons did a great job there to play your positions. 4 people on the backside, tower stairs, outside blue, and E-box hatch. But it was P9, the sole flanker on blue staircase, that made so much happen in that round and really opened things up. Citizen in that one-round clutch, ice in his veins, prone on the floor, secondary shotgun. Not the greatest weapon, and the pre-fire almost cost him that gunfight, but it closes things out. Citizen has been phenomenal so far here at the Six Invitational 2024. He was a top gunner yesterday up against Lowe's, and he's like found this kind of new success on Soniqs with the role changes coming in.
That was definitely the most surprising thing to hear about, because when you see just one young player being injected into a roster, you think, all right, I think the most stereotypical kind of lay assumption one could have is, oh, he'll go on entry, and then, you know, Geo will stay on hard breach, Rexen maybe first or second entry, blah, 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 right? And you don't really think that a whole lot's going to change. But then you read that interview Seth gave to Fresh and Up the Siege, and you're like, oh. You took the introduction of one Ambi of all players to decide, you know what, let's just not necessarily rethink our overall philosophy, but think about how we all slot into that. You know, we like Geo's calling. We want to make sure that, you know, maybe on the attacking side, he still has a voice to play, but, you know, maybe we should lean into Citizen's calling a little bit on the side swap. Maybe we should let Grixer play a little bit more loose in his position, move him to a bit more of a secondary support. Give Citizen, of course, also the option to go to flank watch. Really shows that Soniqs have put a lot of thought into how they want this SI to go. And I think that's a really smart move. Of course, we could get into the merits of it, but Soniqs underwent another big revamp after their very quick exit at the previous SI, topped their group, right in contention with Eminem, and then went out extremely quickly. And at that point, you have coaching staff getting reintroduced, some reconsiderations for how they want to play the game, and that ended up netting them a decent bit of success with appearances at Copenhagen and going out in Atlanta early, but the BDS, who looked incredible that event. So little asterisk there. But SI definitely is an event for Soniqs, one of the best teams in North America, that always has this connotation of reworking how they're playing, but specifically geared for success. And So far in this group, you can't fall.
Just want to add a final note to that is that Soniqs, like, they've always, since like Citizen joining and before that even, they've always been very happy at like evolutionizing themselves and how they play. They're not like stagnant doing the same things over and over again. They're happy to try with role changes, roster, support stuff, etc. if they have to. Of course, they haven't made many direct roster changes directly, but when they feel like it's time for a new player to enter the system, they will introduce them. And every single time, without argue, pretty good success. Ambi running out the front door, going for his favorite ranked spawn peek, I believe, in this case, and heads right back on in because R6 is the fastest operator in all of Rainbow Six Siege, and only he can make that play.
Well, here's an interesting question. Since I guess his Rima dashes do recharge. If they're only used infrequently, is he actually the fastest operator on average?
He has the fastest max speed and has the same average speed as other operators.
All right.
So he's the fastest.
So if you're using that metric, then yes, he absolutely is the fastest. I'm just raising,
also,
some important mathematical.
Are you going to cast with Hap at some point?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, then I'm not going to spoil it because he asked a question yesterday to me about a gadget name. I was going to add the stat for him, but if you're going to work with him, I'm not going to go there.
All right. Well, I appreciate you not spoiling it for me, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I didn't think there'd be a...
It's like a knowledge test, you know?
I think it'd be a
See if
dynamic.
you're a fraud.
All right, well, that was aggressive. Minute into the round, not much has transpired, as Oregon sometimes tends to result in slow attacks, especially against a team that is very much still trying to get their feet under them, as Falcons are. Basement might not have gone their way. Don't need to beat yourself up too hard about that, but with a drone literally under Citizen's feet, that might just have a good idea for what he could do here. Doknikol also going out, but we saw this a lot, or at least Parker and I did. Maybe you did as well in the Bliss SSG game. A lot of drone usage, but nothing gained for that. And right now, 5 drones gone at about halfway through, and some Twitch drones as well. What have Falcons really gained from that?
I was going to say, they keep checking where Citizen is playing, but they're just checking for the sake of checking. Nothing's happening off that. J-Lad's still outside the building, just kind of wasting time, I would almost say, here for Falcons. And they're progressing relatively slowly on the map. Sure, Mavericks open up that big tower rotation, but as time progresses, they keep losing drones. They're not gaining ground, and time really is taken away. 1 minute, 5 seconds left, and they're only just now entering the trophy portion of the map. It's gonna come down to gunfights once again, but in a 5 versus 5, this will favor the defense, and with Citizen getting the opening kill finally onto J-Lad on small tower, this will heavily favor Soniqs.
I'm thinking, what was J-Lad really applying there? Was he just trying to maybe catch someone on a rotation, go for a late flank up white? But with how much utility he expended, the Twitch wasn't used to really shoot anything. He was using it to actively drone the Azami. That's utility you could have used on the execute. Meanwhile, there has been some success. They've opened up the bedroom wall, are now very successfully applying pressure onto the attic position, at least in allowing Quibs to push up. And maybe push further into the bedroom. They are indeed in. They've cleared out the close corner, but Ambi's cut down the attic player, the player who could have added another dimension to Falcon's attack. 2 kills suddenly go their way. So, despite the very weird and slow attacks so far, Falcons have a momentary lead. Soniqs fight back in their entrenched positions, and as the final player falls off the diffuser, Soniqs take their 2nd round in a row. All they needed to do was trust in the setup.
And I think that you are correct. The biggest question mark for me there is, J-Lad on small tower, what are you doing there? Let's say he wanted to go up wide staircase, help his team. Well, instead of going through small tower into dining where Citizen was playing for a very long time, what about just jumping in the bottom white stairs window, kind of cut off the map in half there, ignore Citizen, or lock him in? Because now it's a cat and mouse game. Citizen found both these drones, the J-Lad goes in with 0 intel, 0 support, and just kind of dies for nothing. And then 30 seconds later, that's when that bomb site execute goes through. Citizen is back up on the bomb site, and again, defense is more guns facing the direction of the attackers. They have no real way into the bomb site.
And I think there, Falcons, because Oregon is such an old map, they know how to solve the old problems.
Exactly.
They know how to open up the bedroom wall. They know what to do there. But when there's an Azami who's seemingly by herself inside a small tower, they're like, well, I mean, should we take her down? Should we ignore her? Do I send 8 billion Twitch drones at her? I'm not entirely sure. Falcons are stumped, end up losing the round because of it. Now they're in a position, thankfully, where they can attack the tertiary bomb site. And as I feel every caster is obligated to say on Oregon, this is where, I mean, everyone, literally, everyone says this.
This is where they should get their first attacking round.
Oh, it's not basement, it's outdoors, so you gotta win this one, right?
Yeah, sure, statistically, it says so.
It's pretty funny if we look, it's like meeting 85% defensive rating. Oh no, I'm a fraud. I can't do my job.
Oh man.
But I'm sure that's not the case. I mean, at least here, we're talking about Falcons maybe being a slave to traditional thinking. Kills is like, all right, well, nobody's probably small tower, so I'll just walk in there in 30 seconds. And I won't criticize him too much there because that's much more control gained far quicker than Falcons have in the past 2 rounds.
Yeah, it's a pretty good pace so far. Good drone intel coming out as well. And Soniqs, while they are relatively spread out across the map, they do have a system. They're playing 2 and 2 with a single person being a little bit more on the loose side of things here. But Falcons, they still struggle to find the opening kills and then build upon that. Because Soniqs, they play really tight right now. They're not exposing themselves, they're not peeking aggressively. They're not like taking unneeded risks really either. So Falcons, they need to be the one, the players in the team who force an opening kill because Soniqs won't give it to them.
I think that's the perfect mentality for this. If you're facing a team that on paper is more internationally inexperienced, who maybe doesn't have as strong of a system. I mean, Twister just coming in on this roster, I'm sure can give a lot of experience and a lot of insight, but this is his first event with the team. That kind of stuff takes time. So don't give them free kills, don't give them free openings. Just basically play like 5 or 10 crossfires, and you should be okay. Rexon even spots one outside the Dorm's window, takes a couple shots, but he doesn't commit to him. He keeps the window, backs up, Citizen has a fight coming to him from P9, and it results in Soniqs getting a 4-2 lead by the end of it. 3v2, technically, with Ambi on the floor. 3 guns alive versus the 2 from Falcons. But considering we only have 1 above and 1 below, depending on where Ambi is, he might be safe to get. There's that Gridlock on the top floor, now the only player remaining. A triple kill for Citizen so far, certainly not watching flanks in the defense. Constantly getting in the face of Falcons and his Ambi's finally shut down. Hard to wait to see a way back into this round for JLad.
I gotta really say here, Soniqs with a great understanding of what areas of the map are safe and which ones are dangerous. They are never in a bad position in these rounds. And the second that Falcons, they start moving somewhere else, turning their back, you see Citizen always striking back, putting himself in strong positions and finding so many kills. He's 7-1 right now in just the first 2 rounds. He is the main spearhead for this team. And also, as we said earlier, the in-game leader for defense, controlling those units where the players will be at. They steal below the hatch, shotgun in hand. There is no way that JLad will win that gunfight, and he won't.
Now 0-3 for Falcons on their attacking side. Of course, the defenses can usually be relied on for some picks, but at this point, I'd say maybe you consider taking the time out. Twister clearly hearing something he does not like in the comms right now. And while we can of course speculate, but we don't necessarily need to. What we can look out is the performance for Falcons in these rounds so far, where round 1, remember, did come down to a 1v1. Came down very close to the wire, and Falcons have been able to knock a couple Soniqs players off the board in these rounds. But aside from a couple kills, Soniqs have shown remarkable composure in the late round to stay ahead in the end.
Speaking of Twister, where is he?
Oh!
Yeah. Wait,
hold up.
Where's their coach?
Oh, there he is.
No. What? He came out of nowhere.
Where did he come from?
Did you see that? There's like a hatch in the floor.
He's a magician.
I genuinely didn't see him when the screen came on. Okay, he was there. He was talking. He was on his knees or on his toes, I guess. I don't know. Is it replay of this? Can we get like a replay?
Blast we have rules forbidding wizardry, right? Like,
that's not fair.
We don't look kindly on witchcraft.
Attackers need to locate
just
and defuse
reiterating.
if they can.
Oh my god, that was crazy. Okay, so Twister was there. He spoke to his team. He got some words of encouragement in, and
he was getting his squats in.
Yeah, he really was. At that burn. Honestly, I think for Falcons right now, I could imagine, as a former player myself, that this is more of a mental thing than anything else, right? You come in, you know, visa issues, whatever, main roster can't be here, subs they take over, first game doesn't go well, main roster gets flown in, no sleep, straight into the server basically, doesn't go well either. And now you wake up, you have a little bit of rest of course, but you're a little bit shook, right? 0-2 in groups, like this was just gonna be one of your better tournaments, hopefully, you know, big stage.
We're facing the first team in this group, the first place team.
And now you're 0-3 in Oregon, which is your map pick. Sure, it's Oregon attack, you know, it's difficult, whatever, but mentally speaking, your emotions don't care about what's hard. You just care about, damn, we're losing right now, this sucks.
And even if that meeting round, maybe in terms of the setup, looked better than the other two, you know, now that you've lost it, now that you've gone down 0-3, you want to call this tack timeout, you're going back to basement, which still looked decently scattered, that in that dorm round. So now is the time to say, all right, we've gone down 0-3, let's come up with a better game plan. Twister can say, all right, we're pushing individually, let's do this.
Last time Geo faked the roam, this time he's actually there, and the drone, again like last time, gets jammed. This might be a free pick for Geo if he plays this correctly.
This is why he's the winningest player of all time, as Super often says. He's got these big brain ideas. Solo plays even. He put these jammers up the first round. He's got no support. He's sitting here by himself, banking on the psychological effect this had. But the Jackal isn't biting just yet.
They keep droning, but he knows they can't drone him out. So all he has to do is stay in that corner. But if Falcons make the right play and call for backup, Gio will be stuck in this position. So the question is, do they think there's actually a roamer in play, or is it just the mind games playing tricks right now? Well, Jackal will find out.
You still have to give credit to Quibs' instincts, and they pay off! That's why they bring that Jackal. But again, that wasn't necessarily the Inox at the beginning. A lesser player might have just gone forward, said, all right, I haven't droned it. I'll swing it. I'll dry
it. It was there last time.
Yeah, it was there last time. I'll just check it. Somebody's probably not there. But he said, you know what? I will rate. And it might seem like a small thing, but it shows that there is still quite a bit of forethought going into these plays from Falcons. And he's able to take down Gio because of it.
Yeah, I mean, that is a huge moment that round. If Gio gets that kill, that is a massive effect on the attacking side. They got to find him, run up the staircases, like chaos in the server. Whereas now Falcons, they play this 5v4. They finally get that opening pick on the strongest defender favorite bomb side. So this is their moment right now. Okay, couldn't win territory, but they might win an attack against the primary bomb side if they can succeed here.
Got the utility for it. Sure, maybe the Doku calls are gone, but they got plenty of flashes, plenty of smokes on 3 different operators. Of course, those Bs that I mentioned before, they send the fireball past the freezer wall, try to work that player out of the corner or clear the long hallway, make it more uncomfortable, and they push back successfully so far. Only Rexon still positioned to directly deal with that freezer push on a close angle. It is barricaded, though. I've not seen this one before. Phenom just starts spraying through, puts somebody down to 1 HP.
Oh.
A lot of shots going wide. That's 2 potential kills the Twitch could have landed. Instead, it's Quibs for his second. The player for Falcon in this round. P9 finally going down. Again, missed opportunities on that freezer position, but Rexon and Grixer, because of his efforts, are both 1 HP. They have to be careful about the gunfights they take, and that puts a lot of pressure on Citizen, who's now just fallen. Only Rexon now left, but 4 seconds remaining. Do they have the diffuser? Doesn't really matter. O kills with the final one to wrap things up. Or Quibs, excuse me, and making it a triple for him in round 1. But more importantly, Falcons' first round on a very strong defensive bomb site.
It's very close there. Mad Skills on the Capital did have the diffuser, but he was in freezer, sprinting through the entire map page and saying, wait for me, guys, I'm coming soon, but I need you to buy enough room here from freezer to the bomb site. Escort me all the way there. And right as the round ended, with 2.5 seconds left, he entered the site, could have started planting, but that was really messy from Soniqs. I feel like when you have Rexon and the Warden playing on that A-bomb chassis position, Chala as some NA teams call it, you take on those goggles and you look through the smoke grenades inside a freezer. Warden didn't really get activated. Twitch pushed up, almost got 2 kills, and really forced Soniqs back to the laundry pad of the bomb side, giving up so much space to the attackers. And again, Gio that earlier, what if he had been alive, right? Good questions.
What if he had been alive? But also, I mean, to Gio's credit, the way Falcons ended up finding him really was only possible because of that Jackal pick. And, you know, that is somewhat of a credit to Falcon strategy, but also an indicator that sometimes you could have a really great play, a really smart psychological effect created on your opponents, conditioned in round 1, now coming into play in round 4. But if somebody picks one of those niche operators that just so happens to give them a counter to you, there's not much you can do. So, Falcons end up, whether it's by providence or strategy, or likely both, end up getting that opening pick and then capitalizing on it for a successful round 1. Now they just need to do it on the other 2 bomb sites that they lost previously in order to have a chance at ending this 3-3. Soniqs have moved to dorm, as I mentioned, and this is looking like that meeting attack instead of the dormers one. We have a Dope in the building in 30 seconds.
Yeah, this is very quick, very aggressive. I like that Jello will stay here. Don't push the barbed wire. Don't make yourself exposed by any sound cues here. And just say, if anybody from Soniqs moves down the white staircase, they will die. We'll get another opening pick. So it's like a 4-1 front right now. They have 1 lurker and 4 other players trying to progress on the map, apply pressure, and figure something out. Gio, he loves playing on these island positions where he is very much alone. Last round, and Kid storms in the room. Now instead of Armory, but Rexon is nearby with the support rather in Big Tower and gets a kill from far away.
Both teams acquiring a kill. But Gio and Rexon as well, but both those players likely the most exposed there, far out. You can make an argument, though, for Citizen and Grixer maybe being exposed as well, the only 2 players in the bomb site. Falcons are circling around the dorm's position with Quibs outside the dorm's window. They're spotting the Azami inside of Armory, marked perpetually. Geo all the way on that island now down. He can easily be finished off with the Bailiff. 2 kills for 0 kills. That's a bit of a contradiction right there, and it gets an advantage for Falcons.
Yeah, and now we need to see that Citizen Nat start lashing out, finding those picks because we have Crips on the big window, shutting down 1 rotation. 3 members on the Armory master bedroom side as well, slowly getting through the breach, slowly making their way towards the bomb side. Rex on a great flank here to retake the white staircase, but the thing is, it's already been surrendered by the attackers. No one is any longer there. There was a kill being found, but Daylight again finding Rexon.
Kills from that window too, cutting off maybe Citizen's rotation, accept any angles through that soft panel on top of white stairs. Pushes on through, J-Lad not looking. That's the way to bring this back in. Citizen then backs off, forces the rotations from Falcons as kills, falls off the rappel, moves up trophy stairs, to now consolidate inside or outside the wolf door with P9. F-Not causing a bit of chaos at this particular moment. It's shot. Falcons don't have a lot of time, but they have a little bit left to try and coordinate something. How many? Oh yeah, 2 drones remaining as well. Again, only 20 seconds, but O'Kill's maybe gathering a little bit more intel just to be safe. Grixer instead taking one down, a 3K for the Grim in round 5. Who's generally the other one is, but Citizen just has a little bit extra in him. Able to peek around, catch the Grim off guard, but another very close affair that Falcons, maybe in another world, could have won.
I'll be a little bit critical now and say that ever since Citizen moved to North America, he kind of lost the EU touch, right? He was basically a Shaiku 2.0 back in prime European time. Always clutching dudes. Don't look at me like that. He was a phenomenal fragger.
What do we have, the cooties? What are you talking about?
Look at this. He is actually him again. He is getting 2 1v1 so far against Falcons. Statistically so far in this tournament, playing great again. I feel like this is more EU Citizen than ever since he moved to NA.
He's been on the same team. He's been on the North American team for a year and a half now. And you're like,
and he moved from EU to NA, and he
lost the EU touch. Yeah. How did he get it back on an NA team?
No, I'm just saying.
You know what it really is? It's the ambi touch, Nick. It's the ambi touch.
I'm saying
you're trying to attribute it.
Okay.
Well, that's not what you said.
Well, I said he lost the EU touch when he moved to NA and didn't play like he did before, and now he's back performing again.
All right.
That's what I mean.
All right. Fine.
My point is, he was phenomenal, and he was good.
You know
now
what?
He's phenomenal.
You know what we can agree on? He's 9-2 right now. And the big reason why Soniqs are up, because 2 rounds came down to a 1v1, this could be 3-2 right now. If Citizen loses 2 gunfights across 2 separate rounds, Falcons could actually be in the lead on their attacking half. But Citizen being so good in the clutch. Soniqs instead up 4-1. And Falcons, all they need to do is get this next round to achieve what is often the bare minimum on Oregon, that 4-2 half. And they won basement previously. This could be more doable. And talking about psychological conditioning, Geo not only not in dorms, not even on an SAS operator this time. He's on Fenrir. He said, nobody's walking in on me.
He's like, I'm not dying this time. I mean, Geo does play like a very thankless role, even going back to like TSM, where, again, he will be on an island doing his own thing for the greater good of the team. It's very selfless, not selfish, and it does work out, because even when Geo tends to die in these kind of odd positions, he'll burn a lot of time, utility, and take a lot of attention, and give the enemy team problems to solve that aren't all that common. You see it for the first time live in the server, like, hold on, what is this guy doing in this corner? How do we do this?
It's like, oh, it's like, like, you think he's like, oh, you know, he's 1-4. What could he be adding? And he's like, well, if you let him, he'll give the attack sometimes a complicated mini-game to solve that even if he dies at best, could still cost the attack quite a bit of time. Now, sometimes it doesn't pay off, but when you have a career as long as Geo's, can't all be winners.
No.
And sometimes even a winning idea might falter for reasons completely out of your control. But in this case, bringing F-Knots and stacking them on doorways, that's a pretty good idea to me. Mirror windows too? Sure, they might be cracked, but it forces the attack to expend some utility, in this case Ash charges, to deny that angle for you, but also take some time out of their attack. P9, that very player, is now rotated over to the front side. A lot of utility being done, a lot of damage being done to the utility in this mid-round by Falcons.
That's the first step right there. Deal with the mirror windows. Second step, you got Capital Fire and Capital Smoke, as well as smokes on Jackal. That's going to be your second step. That's going to initiate the push. So when you see smokes coming out, that's when the push will follow shortly after. Falcons still setting up 1 big tower stairs, 2 laundry, and 2 on Freeze's side. A 2-2-1 take. Capital, mad skills, will start things off. When he says go, the team will have to follow. First, it's going to be a fire arrow or a smoke.
An arrow certainly fired. Rex with the first kill on a P9.
Okay.
A second, cutting down the laundry push completely. If you're thinking about a 2-2-1, that's 1/3 of it gone. What is Quibs to do? Never mind, one more player laundry, but it's just fodder for Citizens. Vector. On Falcons' approach into the bomb site, they are cut down completely. A promising setup, seemingly. Utility clear, working well. They still have quite a bit for the execute. But once you start off getting two-pieced by Rexon, it's hard to come back from that.
No, it is, and I feel like there is a better angle there for the fire. He used the capture fire arrow for the hallway itself downstairs, where if you know that Rexon or Warden is stuck in the corner of the chassis, that should be your first priority. Fire him out, force him to move, or stay in the fire and burn to a crisp, and then once you clear that, you go to the next step. They skipped Rexon. And even if you smoke things off, it's Warden. He will deal with you. And there are multiple ways. With the mirror window being opened up from Freezer, you can fire him. Even from bottom laundry, if you push up a little bit further and you fire on the left-hand side, you will also cook his feet. So, small miscalculation there, but nonetheless, 5-1 for Soniqs. And one of my favorite things about teams winning like this is that they can start playing some funky rounds of Rainbow Six Siege. Now, they were showing us Blitz, Glass, Kali, and I know probably not gonna go all the way through, but when you're up 5-1, you can toss it around and just go, you know what, let's have some fun. Let's try rush, one option, you know.
I really appreciate that you said that, and then they picked like an extremely standard lineup.
I know. I'm saying that there's a chance for it. It's not always.
Listen, you're setting up a potential for what could happen in this game.
And you know what? I love this because sometimes they come true and it feels good.
Well, and Rexon was sticking the Cali for a little too long.
He was.
I was like, what are you cooking on dorms? I mean, you know, I get the lance part of it. You know, you throw it on the bedroom wall, throw it on the attic wall, but try and op through the bedroom wall? Like, I don't think so.
Also, can we talk about how Falcons did not go for basement first? They're starting dorms, being down 1 and 5. You gotta have some real good confidence on your upstairs hold for this decision to work.
We'll see what they have planned exactly. We've got 3 different defenders inside of the site itself. One of them being a zombie who, if you're gonna put someone on an island, you'd think it would be her, whether it's Big Tower or Armory, but in this particular case, they have Quibs up inside a Big Tower, and while you lose those Kibas and that protection, a lot of times the way teams clear this is they just huck a bunch of flashes in to try and disorient you, force you in a different position. If you have those warding glasses, you can buy yourself a lot of time. Soniqs aren't really in the market, though, because they're all on the opposite side of the map. They simply do not care about Big Tower, save for Rexon holding the window because he believes somebody might be here.
This is the thing. Maverick normally will go Big Tower solo to over the wall for Attic and make some pressure. By putting one person on tier 3 like Quips is right now, you deny that. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Rexon is now quote-unquote useless. He has to rotate elsewhere, wasting time. But Quips too, being inside a big tower, he will also be in a bad position when that bomb site execute comes through. So he'll have to rotate eventually as well. It's essentially a 4v4 right now on the master pitching portion of the map.
Depending on what happens, is that inadvertently forcing Soniqs' hands. They could open up the bedroom wall, but there's also a rotate hole for Falcons in that very position. They're trying to stall time in this particular area, but Jalen and P9 both down, thanks to Grixer just walking, I believe, down either up white or below white somewhere over in the white stairs area, finding 3 kills at this point as Mad Skills is put on the floor. And who's the last player alive? Mr. T3, who's got to climb down the ladder, walk through Attic into a spray from Ambi, who gets the final 2 kills and sends Soniqs to map point.
I mean, Grixer, I don't know what you're doing that round, but that was phenomenal. You get 3 kills, and I mean, hey.
So we didn't see what happened. He was bottom white.
Yeah.
There was a Fenrir inside of cafeteria. And then he got the 3rd player, who I believe was moving around like top white. I don't know where that 2nd player was, because we had 1 guy in T3, 1 guy in cafe, the other 3 were in sight.
Yep.
I guess he
could have been a hatch
cafe
drop,
guy, maybe hatch drop or white stairs would be my guess.
Yeah, either or. But yeah, getting those 3 picks, I mean, it looks so simple, essentially, from the outside. Also, so something about this. So back when Geo played in TSM, he always hovered Glass every single round. And now we see Geo, Rexon, and Grixer hovering like Blitz, Kali, Glass. And I think I know why, because Geo said to me, the reason why I did that in TSM was because people want to attack or repeat to other operators. So you lock in the least likely operator to be played so that other people can pick theirs first, to talk about things, then you lock in your actual operators. Because let's say he goes Sledge. And then Rexon's like, oh, give me Sledge. And he has to swap off Sledge. He can then pick Sledge. Hugh has to pick the real operator. It gets messy. Bolo does the same thing on Dark Zero right now, where he hovers glass most rounds.
You know, well, one interesting thing.
It's a TSM thing.
Well, it might be a TSM thing. There was 2 years ago, there was a CL team called Aqualix.
Okay.
Crow is going to be losing his mind right now that I'm referencing this. There's a CL team called Aqualix, and they would do the same thing. All 5 of them would hover like Glaz, Cali, Blitz, like these random operators. We're all like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
And maybe that was for the reason. And hey, you know who was on that team? Gasher.
Oh.
I'm
so
saying,
maybe Gasher brought it on.
I'm saying, Geo, gotta pay respect to your elders. That's all I'm saying.
An old man in a young person's operator right now, Blitz. They didn't shoot the construction default cam until just a second ago. And there we go, injured. Blitz going in, going out, or no? Yeah, she's dead.
Well, that,
old man, young operator, doesn't work out.
That didn't end well.
No, it didn't.
But you talked about sometimes going for a goofier one-off strats. I will say, I think the Blitz rush up elbow has been done enough that it's gone off necessarily goofy one-off. It might not be a commonly used strat, but it definitely is a fallback or a choice for teams who are looking to get a decisive win in the round to try and catch a team off guard.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, even if Geo didn't die to a C4 like that, there wasn't really any true follow-up. The shield here is, you know, denying the entry pathway as well. I don't see how this would have worked regardless.
Yeah, and Ambi just trying to not only recover the diffuser, but find a kill on that player in the bunker. The first engagement doesn't work, and there's players behind him. Isn't currently stuck on that tower stairs, whereas Grixer was behind Ambi on the side of bunker. It doesn't look at the first one, though. Not the second. P9, a nice little 3-piece for himself in round number 8. And they all know Citizen is up here. I mean, we're throwing impacts at this point. Like, Falcons just want to get this over with. I think that's a 4K from P9, if I do say. So,
I believe so.
Good stuff. Shout out, as Grixer just said, movement demons. Still need 4 rounds to go for Falcon.
I was going to say, great. You win basement, expected outcome. You are now 2-6. Or 2-6 against Soniqs. It's like, you got a long road ahead of you, and all Soniqs need is one round where either they clutch up or Falcons make a singular mistake. Losing the round that quickly for Soniqs, if anything, it's smart. You reserve the energy for next round.
Now you're not going for a hard-fought round. If anything, you can even build up some momentum or some hype. You see Geo rushing to die to a C4. You just clown him a little bit, make fun of it. Like, wow, great play, Geo. You died immediately. I'm not actually saying that. Guys, this is a bit. I'm like pretending I'm a Soniqs player, and then I'm in the team comms.
He wants to be in the team so bad.
I do.
Yeah,
please.
Super, if you're listening, you're probably consuming this. Carter is desperate to join the Soniqs.
Dude, it's so bad. You know what it's like in the green room. They're making fun of my feet. Making fun of my shirt. I'm spilling water on myself.
You have no socks on, no shoes. The second we started casting, the freaking shoes came off.
I know the satisfaction of like a woman who's had like a long night out. She takes off her heels and just like walks to the car. Okay, my slides are not that comfortable. Like let's get one thing clear. And I didn't want to wear shoes today. I don't know. I like it. I like it.
And they're for free, you know?
For free? For free? Speaking of free, remember how free that dorms round was when Quibs was stuck in T3 till it was a 1v5? That's what's free.
Let's see, Citizen taking a bit of damage here on the gridlock this time around. 12 and 3 to his name, and a very hot stop. A bit of a quiet middle situation here, but then, of course, had a couple of kills in the last defensive round. It's going to be another slow attack here for Soniqs. So yesterday against Lowe's, Soniqs, they're not taking their time, doing things the right way, if you will. Yeah, they can go quick when it makes sense, when there's an opening, when they got the intel, but it's also great at seeing 1, 2, 3 ABCs, do utility, do verticality, lock down the angles. Everybody ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, execute.
Let's see how strictly Soniqs stick to that pattern. The positions they're taking certainly allow for it. They want to get the bedroom wall again, just as they did before, but not a lot of hard breaching they have. I mean, some hard breach charges, sure, but they've realized, hey, if Falcons are running a setup where the bedroom wall is half open, you don't necessarily need to run that thermite. They're doing the same for the attic as well, because they knew Quip was in T3 since he rotated back up attic. They don't need to go for the standard solid hard breach, 1 and 2 dedicated ones like they did before. Now I have to be a little more careful, though, as Gambi falls. Citizen's still on low HP from earlier. Falcons in an alright position to gain an advantage here, not just in terms of the 5v4, but to really start costing Soniqs a bit more time.
Yeah, they're kind of locked out here. That last bedroom closet rotate with the shield and trophy is really stalling out here on the side of Soniqs, and they got a problem solved now. It's difficult. Now inside of attic, shield now got dealt with, but there's only a minute left. They're kind of spread apart. Grixer, big window all alone. Quick can't just jump in. Whereas they only now are getting over that closet wall towards the bomb site. Just now shot the armor default camera. And just now saw P9 and Cribs are roaming at big tower side of things.
P9 did fall in attic, but Quibs can retake this position. So it's a 4v4 for both teams, and the position they just cleared can be filled once again. So long as the Warden can make his way up without falling to the gridlock. He's made his way to the Aegir's very position. The Soniqs are aware of this, but you're starting to get to the point where knowledge is not enough. If you're not able to deal with him, you might fall to him. Citizen, the person who cleared it in the first place, has died. Quibs then follows it up with a kill onto Geo, and Falcons seem to seal the round in a nice, quiet little bow. There we go. Q6Z with maybe 2 to 3 kills in that round on the flank up Big Tower. In a much better position than he was in the previous time he tried that flank, wasn't he?
This time it worked out. So, this is now the tertiary bomb site moment, right? And as you should...
Oh, shut up.
Win it on the attacking side. Soniqs, they would like to. Because if they don't, full bomb site rotation goes through for Falcons. Then go back to basement. Or I guess, actually, in this case, they go back to dorms. But yeah. Actually, no, wait. Let's do some quick math here. Bang, bang, bang. Basement would be open. There it is.
Nice.
Anyway, Soniqs tactical timeout.
Actually, that's entirely what this timeout's about. They're like, wait, what site's out?
Yeah. What's happening at the side of dorms? What does that mean? Yeah. So I think right now it's about. I'm not sure actually what this is about, because I wouldn't say things have gone poorly for Soniqs. There's been some small stall outs, struggling to deal with utility, but that's expected. It's very difficult. I could imagine it's more maybe more about playing more close together. Grixer and Big Wind in that previous round didn't really do quote unquote anything. He was stunning, using soft breach, but the second he jumped in, he's dead. Because you cannot jump in the big window. Hit Storm Repel gets you more value. Flanking Attic gets you more value. Maybe flanking the guy in Big Tower of Quips gets you more value. So I feel like small changes here for Soniqs, nothing too crazy.
And I think it's also a case of God is probably hearing something. Of course, we always say this. Hearing something she doesn't like in the comms, but you then have a decision to say, okay, well, it's still 6-3.
Yeah.
We maybe have, one more round of a buffer. If it ends up being 6-4, then I'll call the timeout. But then you have a question of, all right, but if they don't have enough time to work it out, they've only got 2 rounds until overtime.
Yep.
So sure, they were up 6-1, they lost 2 rounds. Better to be proactive and just try to fix and get ahead of those issues than let them potentially fester and leave it up to the team for 3 rounds and then not have enough time for the team to actually fix those mistakes. We'll have a bit of a tech break because we had a drone bug. We'll say, I mean...
Is that for sure? Do you know for a fact that
I saw Rexon say drone bug in chat.
Oh, I
so,
didn't
I mean, assuming Rexon is not lying, yes.
You never know.
Yes,
Extended timeout.
That's technically true.
Abusing
I don't know. Maybe the admin also does not have eyes and was like, sure, Rexon, yeah.
Whatever you say,
drone
man.
bug. I'm the biggest Richie fan of all
exactly.
time.
Maybe they're best friends. Super's like, I'm going to PayPal this guy right now. So let's talk about this for a bit then, Carter. If you could be a coach of any team in the NAL, just the NL, the region that you work in, what team do you feel like you would be a part of? It can be culturally, performance-wise. Mirage? it can be teams that aren't here as well if you want to.
Wow, that was rude.
Whoa, rude.
That was mean.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. This past Mirage roster was
not that bad.
Solid.
It was okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
Didn't have Kento. Shout out Kento. Good friend.
So where do you feel like you'd slot in?
Where do I feel like I'd slot in? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think I'm a smart guy. I think performance-wise, most of these people are probably better at their job than I would be.
Let's say no team had a coach.
Oh, okay.
You're slotting in where you belong.
Okay, but if you're talking about slotting in where I belong, I'd have to say culturally, because if no team had a coach, we're also assuming that there are no qualified coaches in the market, correct?
Okay, sure.
Listen, when it comes to something that I'm not confident I'd be good at, I tend to assume there are quite a few people better than me, and I don't want to be like, yeah, I think I could hop in on, I don't know, let's just say the Soniqs. And make it, like, I'm not going to say that.
Gotta step aside.
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I love Lauren. Shout out.
She's great.
Yeah, she's great. I think culturally, that's a good question.
Yeah. I feel like you would fit in with SSG, like the screaming people, you know, a lot of energy, you'd fit right in because you can just, they talk loud, you talk louder, they talk loud, you talk louder.
Ashen and I would get it to some good hijinks.
Exactly.
You know what? You know what? I think you might be right because I think there are some parts of the SSG culture that I might not be a fan of. Like if I have to wear suits every game,
Not a fan.
I've got to, you know, I got to give some credit to wearing suits to, like, you know, give yourself more confidence because when you wear a suit, like,
you feel empowered.
Feel good, and especially if it's a well-tailored suit, you feel good. But it gets hot sometimes behind those players. And if I'm in like a barn burner map 3 of a series, and
you're
like
sweating.
Yeah, and I'm in like a is it black or white that like gets hotter? Which one is it?
Or black.
Is it black? Yeah, that's what I thought. So if I'm in like a black shirt or something like that, and it's starting to get hot, I'm in the quarterfinal of the Six Invitational 2025. I would not want to do that. I'd like to wear something more comfortable. But I would enjoy, you know, the team workouts, the yelling, specifically with, you know, Ashen. I think that'd be a good time.
I like how you said, and I don't know if this is one or the other, but I like how you're like, barn burner of a match. I'm in the quarterfinals of Invite. It's like,
that can be a barn burner. Did you not watch any Astralis game from last year?
Either you don't think SSG are capable of making it further than quarters, or you don't think you yourself are capable of making it past the quarters.
I'm glad we're good enough friends that you decided to interpret what I said in the most bad faith way possible. You were like, how could I interpret what you just said and make fun of you the most?
It's about confidence. You just said finals, man.
You know, I really appreciate it. This is like young Pengu hater arc again.
Whoa,
just like throwing shots left and right.
When I was
that
young.
is true. Well, how old were you in
like
2019?
14.
How old were you in 2019?
I would have been like early 20s.
I was when I watched SI 2019.
Like 21.
I was. Oh, how old was I?
I mean, just do the math, right? 24,
Shut
24,
up!
19.
I'm thinking.
-5.
I was 18. Wait, no, SI 2019. I was 17.
Yeah, okay, so you were kind of
It
around.
was February 2019.
Yeah, you're like 1 meter 40 centimeters tall
Yeah.
back then, but you were around.
I was about 3'5".
Yep.
And you know, I was allowed to ride the kiddie rides at amusement parks.
Awesome. You know the teacups, right? You know those in America, right?
Yeah, I know those.
I
The ones that
love
make you throw
those.
up. You love those.
Exactly. Well, I don't love that aspect of it, but like I am really, really not into rides. So
you like the teacups to make you throw up?
They were like my limit. You know, they're the craziest ride I could handle, but I'd still throw up.
So 14-year-old Nick is on the teacups and he's losing his mind. He's
no,
like,
no. 21-year-old Nick is
Oh.
in teacups throwing up.
That's
that
very
bad.
silly.
I know, it's very bad. People are
My-
like, let's go to Disney. I'm like, yeah, we can see good stuff, right? No, amusement rides. I'm like, rides.
My dad one time, I'll finish the story, we'll obviously get back into it. My dad was one time, we were at a theme park. I was too short to get on a ride, but I was like just too short. And at the theme park, they had like, the way they measured your height was you stood under this metal pole and they swung it. And if it went over your head, obviously you were too short. But it was like just a little too tall. My dad was like, can you feel it brush your head? Because I'd been measured up that day. And I was like, yeah. He's like, when you feel it brush your head, just say ow. And so I felt it brush my head, and I said, ow! And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And they let me on the ride.
I was going to say, it's something like smacking kids with a metal pole.
No. It's not like that. When it slid off my head, I sat out, they let me on the ride.
That's genius,
I was like, my dad's a genius.
He is a genius.
Then, of course, he told me afterwards, he was like, I mean, I was a little worried I maybe would have gotten you killed, but thankfully I didn't.
Great experience.
Great experience overall.
No, that's good.
Speaking of great experiences, hopefully in that tech pause, Falcons will have thought over some of the courses they can take on this next round. But same for Soniqs, who we had a tech.
5 seconds to go.
We had a tack pause.
Yes, that's the one.
Into a tech pause.
Attackers
Into
are
an
moving out to locate a bomb
unpause.
and defuse it.
Okay. We are now unpaused. Game resumes, and Geo is now an old man on an old man's operator. This is a better fit. Geo on the Monty. Now, when you have professional players playing the Monty character, there are many different ways to go about it. Geo is more of a laid-back, kind of passive Monty player, more about the plan, the map control. It's not gonna drop shot, hip fire people, go for crazy kills necessarily. It's about allowing the people behind him to shine and get that map control. When you're up against utility like on that previous round, with the shields, the barriers, and then playing aggressive in your face from Falcons, I think Monty right here, as a strategical change, is actually a phenomenal idea.
I mean,
to try.
it's similar in a way to the... Oh, okay.
All Geo,
well,
by the way, all Geo.
All Geo. Yeah, shut up. Geo's literally behind him.
Yeah, exactly.
Geo's like, dude, if anybody runs out of armory, you are safe. You are all good. I mean, in a way, Monty functions not one-to-one. In a similar way to the Blitz. They're both meant to acquire map control, clear space behind them, whereas the Blitz is meant to keep pushing forward. The Monty's meant to stop, hold that control, allow the team to catch up. So, A different manifestation, but the shield serving a similar purpose. Of course, while we're talking about that, Ambi, first kill of the entire game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on to Quibs. Nah, I'm just kidding. The first kill after the rehost, but still finding someone inside his split. Mad skills, definitely a bit of a heat check right there. Yeah. Ironic considering they're down 3-6. Well, wrong time for everything, I suppose.
I feel like that's where Soniqs would never make that kind of aggressive swing out because it recognizes it's not a risk worth taking, whereas Mad skills like, damn it, I'll go for it, right? And now it's a 3 versus 5 instead of a 4 versus 5. It gets worse.
And you have O-Kills who's holding Z anyway.
Exactly.
Sure, he can't peek the main door, but he's got the cross in case somebody walks up. The most charitable interpretation is maybe there's somebody clashing. We have P9 watching the same angle. Well, this is a very anticlimactic end to map 1, if I do say so myself. Geo might be blind walking into the site because the F-Naught, but regains vision on that Fenrir. We've seen Geo fall in similar positions where someone's just trying to juke around it very quickly, but there we go. Map 1 done and dusted. One drone bug in tack pause later. Soniqs find it in them to close out Oregon at a 7-3 scoreline with Clubhouse next up. Looking like a very solid day for the Soniqs, given that map's history.
That does, and I feel like Rexon could have just not called the drone bug. He just played that round probably right. That would have been more effective use of time at least. But either way, Oregon is done and dusted. It went the way that I wouldn't say we expected. I did expect a bit closer of a game, but as you mentioned, Citizen did clutch out in 2 individual 1v1s. That was a 7-3 victory. It could have been a 5-5 scoreline instead.
Could have been a lot worse for the Soniqs to be sure. So if you're the Falcons and you're thinking, all right, 7-3, come on, guys, we've been losing so much. Think to yourself, all right, could have been a 5-7 against the Soniqs. Sure, still a regulation loss, but still a better showing. A lot of potential for the Falcons. We'll just have to see what happens after this break. We have Clubhouse coming up next. easy breezy game for Soniqs on their opponent's pick. Falcons certainly seemingly in good spirits at the beginning, but how will they be feeling going into map number 2, which is Soniqs' choice? I am Lynx, joined by Hangu and Nick. I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Okay.
6-1, could have been closer, sure, for Falcons, but 6-1 going into a 7-3 victory for Soniqs. Clubhouse firmly in Soniqs' territory. This isn't looking great.
No, but I will say the issue with picking Oregon as your map is that you will not get a good starting side. You will always be on attack. It's a very defender-sided meta. So now the Falcons go on Soniqs' map pick, Falcons will start on defense. So maybe that will be enough to sway it or make it a very close game at least, because that was the big problem here. Soniqs' defense is solid.
And to your point about getting the benefit of the starting side, when you think, oh great, I get to pick Clubhouse defense first. Woo! Well, actually, this tournament, Clubhouse is, and I actually told Nick this, and he did not believe me. Clubhouse is the most defender-sided map at the tournament. It is not the most played as of today. It is 8 plays compared to Border, which is not the most played map, thanks to, I believe, the series on the other stream. I might be wrong. But Clubhouse is a 74% defensive win rate. Every single site is at least 70% defensive win rate. We have the stats, by the way, we'll say.
EPS 199 from Citizen, 16-4, 2 opening kills, 100% cost.
I mean, all the cool guys have a 200 EPS. That's all
No one has 200 EPS.
No, excellent show from Citizen, who got the majority of his kills on defense, but with 16-4 by the end, was really approaching even impact on both halves. But then 100% cost, he had impact in every single round. So not much you can really complain for Citizen's gameplay. But what can you complain overall? Well, Falcons, we got to see a bit more. We got to see a bit more on that attacking side. Really got to see a bit more overall, really, unfortunately. And if you're starting on Clubhouse defense, that's got to be the place for it to happen.
A wise man once said that Prime Citizen played in EU, went to an 8, played worse, and now back in Prime performance. Did he drop 16 kills and 4 deaths? That cannot be a coincidence. It was me. I said that.
Yeah, I was about to say, he just called himself the wise man in a saying he made up 30 minutes ago.
You know, I used to be on a team with Ben. I call him Ben because we're close like that, because, you know, we're on a team together.
What team was that?
It was the G2 version that sucks. You weren't born. Oh my god, look at this. 94.
Oh, is that the first prediction? Is that the first prediction we've had over 90%?
I think that's the most one-sided prediction that I've seen so far.
I've seen a ridiculous amount of 89% and 11%.
Yep.
I thought it was like, maybe the graph is just maxed out at that. And it just gives the other 11%
no
be
one
kind.
accounted for like 90 plus. Oh boy. Well, to be honest, Soniqs are building, I feel like, a bigger and bigger fan base as time goes on. They're a hard team not to love.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, I know. In the green room, you're like jumping to the side of, oh, we're doing Soniqs, Nick. We're doing Soniqs later.
Have I casted every Soniqs game?
Nah, there's no way.
No, wait.
Wait,
no, I didn't cast Los yesterday. I'm an idiot.
You did.
I casted Sonic Scars.
Yeah.
So I've not casted every Sonic game. No. And not like Geek at the last major, where up until I genuinely think up until their second to last game in Swiss, I casted every single one of their games.
Big fan.
I was a big fan. I was talking to Shom, talking to Key, having a good time, chatting it up with the lads. And then what did you know? First man to team to make main stage. I think that's a sign there.
Okay.
You feel free to disagree, but you would be wrong. Ban phase has gone and transpired. I don't believe we had a Tuber out ban.
We did not. Falcons spent Finver and Hibana. Sonic spent Asami and Monty, despite the fact that Gio picked up that operator himself just for a single round, and they won that with ease, thanks to his teammates getting a lot of kills. But yeah, the big talking point here is that Sonic's now on the attacking starting side, Falcons start defense. And to simplify these sides, right? Defense will have to set up a bunch of problems for the attackers to deal with. The attackers have to problem solve that. I think of all the maps in the 9 map pool that we have pro play, Clubhouse is the #1 problem solving strategical map. Because I believe that if you are a good attacking team on Clubhouse, you will always have a 4-2-half, sometimes even better. Because there are so many ways to problem solve every single bomb site, and it's like stuff on paper. You can practice it, you can rehearse it, you can counter it. Experience on this map matters so much, and we start to see when this round starts, if Soniqs can problem solve these upcoming rounds, and they got what it takes to get a really good attack inside, which is what you need in this meta.
It's a map that is very difficult to boil down into one distinctive trait. I mean, Border, we all know what we think when we think Border. We think gunfight, we think aggression, we think holding lots of map control, fighting on the attack. You think of Oregon, you think of slow play, you think of utility burn, you think of a lot slower style of siege. But on Clubhouse, you can have that aggression. You can have a roam where, sure, people think of Mute Mozzie when they think of extended roams, but one thing we've seen in the past couple years is a bandit roam, where you reinforce the plat wall, amplify those, sometimes even the jacuzzi wall, and hold the majority of the map that way. You can have somebody getting aggressive on secret stairs, like we saw SSG do. Yep. In this particular case, on a basement defense, we do have some roamers, O-Kills, playing on main stairs with that Solus, and I believe one other person on that second floor as well. So not a lot of full utility dedicated to that top floor, but a lot of different players holding soft portions of the map by themselves. JLad has put himself in a really difficult spot, and if O-Kills had not just gotten that buzzer beater kill onto Ambi, very easily would have been the opening pick. But down goes the Ying, and if you're going to get any kill first, that one has got to be very happy to get.
Certainly a high impact one. You know, you get the Canada winners off the board, Cadella is away from the table as well, and all of a sudden, trading 1-for-1 just means success. You don't put Jayla in a bad position and then nothing comes out of it. No, you put him in a bad position, 2 people support, 1 office, 1 main stairs window, and you make something happen. Now Soniqs, again, problem solving. They gotta do it. Right now it's Dio, I believe, or someone inside the third tunnel. Yeah, it's Dio holding down an angle, waiting patiently, but there's a shotgun at the other end. It's P9, not to be confused with P4, who plays for Wolves.
Very weird, though.
Yeah, right? Small coincidences.
Small coincidences. Speaking of quibs, there he goes. Rexon's just all the way down in blue. You talk about problem solving. One of the most difficult nuts to crack sometimes can be this blue stairs position when you're attacking the basement, and he found his way in and then will quickly move out the exit. P9 takes him down, and Maskill's going for the flank. Here's an air jab on top of the secret stairs, so can't accomplish that flank. Citizen will push down in response, as P9 is too busy tangling with Geo inside of dirt, and he gets backstabbed by the Nomad. Position Ben, I'm sure, is very happy to be in.
Oh, yeah.
Able to catch up, or catch that freebie now. 40 seconds remaining. Matskill's up above, O-Kills down below. With that Specchio, can actually spot Geo once he's putting the diffuser on the floor. Here's the sound cue as well, but the pre-fire's not quite landing. No intel going the way of Falcons right now that allows them to stop Soniqs from entering into the post plant. Matskill's moving down main stairs. Basically dies the moment his feet actually touch the bottom floor. And O-Kill's position is known, given he pre-fired Geo earlier. Richard swings a little bit, flashbang goes out. O-Kills actually dodges it and manages to find the kill onto Geo. Not winnable just yet, but you can see maybe a 1v1 finding its way into the round. There's 1 player in dirt, 1 player in sight. It's doable, it's possible, depending on the move Soniqs makes. But once they enter that post plant, so long as the dirt player survives, the round would surely follow.
I love the fact that Soniqs, they have the Ying, the Ram, which is pretty usual for like a kitchen hatch take, where you drop down and just take the side that way. And then within 20 seconds, okay, blue take with dirt, bang, just like that. Problem-solving skills, Rexing, great intrigue, but also there has to be a big oversight and miscommunication here from Falcons, because Matskills was on the top blue staircase, fighting Citizen on the Nomad, getting flashbang, the air jab, going for the impact, and then somehow P9 gets surprised by the fact that Citizen walks down the blue staircase and shoots him from behind. But if one teammate from Falcons is fighting a guy blue stairs on the upper area, and a guy dies to a surprise in the bottom of the staircase 5 seconds later, that's not communicated. That's a kill that's easy for them to pick up because they have no idea, but they should have an idea where he was playing at. So I'm not sure what the issue is there for Falcons, but they gotta tighten things up here because it should have been there around. Great opening, but they fell apart in the later half.
And if it's an issue that ends up festering, that lack of communication resulting in free kills for Soniqs,
it's frustrating.
Of course it's frustrating. The players might start getting frustrated with each other, but more importantly, if Falcons start losing 2-3 rounds again, like at the start of Oregon, Twister will very likely have to call the timeout button, because that's something that can be very difficult to solve in a round, because if you have bad communication, the way to solve it is by communicating the problem and then figuring out ways to solve it. It's a bit of a contradictory situation, so Falcons will have to make sure to try and keep that to a 1-round occurrence. Opening picks, at least the first time, is Soniqs. Ambi with the question mark. JLad looking to get aggressive outside the strip doorway. I feel like this is a classic. Am I going for a spawn peek? Not paying off, and now you're left to wonder, what good could those magnets have done had you been a little more conservative?
Speaking of being frustrated, if I'm a team member on Falcons, unless I sign this, be like approval, like, okay, you may spawn pick as so am I would be frustrated here because this is Clubhouse, not Border. Making these kinds of overly aggressive plays is not technically what you should be doing. It's very defender-sided, bunkering down, extending on the map, using those magnets, protecting the bandit, etc., etc., etc. And instead, you're throwing your life away for a 1-for-1 trade and a 50-50 gunfight. I don't like those odds. 50-50 is not a favorable position. It's neutral.
Definitely some
Tomfoolery.
I was debating, should you say basic mistakes, should you say maybe intermediate mistakes? You can make an argument that maybe the communication, you know, maybe that's something more experienced teams, with, not experienced, but, you know, journeyman teams might struggle with. And that 50-50 right there is what you really should be factoring that into your decision making.
Yeah.
I mean, Ambi certainly made the right decision. He's going for the lurk all the way up main stairs. 3 kills right now, but we need to be sure, Ambi, you're pushing very far ahead of your team, and when you're in a position like that, you can get punished for it. Citizen goes for the drop, but Quibs runs out of ammo mid-gunfight.
Oof. Lol.
Citizen laughing all the way to the bank with that one, and the duo, I would say unofficially, of Ambi and Citizen, both getting the big kills in that round.
It's such chaotic energy at the end of the table for Soniqs, right? Citizen and Ambi, they're funny guys. And to be honest, when before this second map started, I told you in confidence that I want to see a big game from Ambi.
You told me in confidence, which is why I'll say it on camera.
I want to see a big game from Ambi here on Clubhouse because it's Oregon. It was kind of like he was there. He was there, but not much came out of it. And then that round right there, you see young Gunner Ambi, 3K, quick entry, follow-up, and even greeting for the final kill, right? Classic young player fashion.
And you know what?
What?
I think that was even such a great round from Ambi. I'm going to treat him sprinting all the way up main stairs into Logi with no real info.
Yes, no. There was a drone red pinning the player the entire time.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, there was.
Never mind, Ambi.
10 seconds to
I'm
go.
sorry.
But he did swing it with the red ping, hip fired.
5
Well,
seconds.
Well, what I was going to say was, I was going to treat it charitably and say Citizen was like, I'm Logi Hatch,
Attackers
you rush, and I'll
objective.
drop at the same time. So I was getting to a similar conclusion that there was coordination involved.
Yeah.
I just did not see the red ping.
Oh, he was going really fast. And
I thought the power of friendship was at play instead of the power of intel and knowing your enemy.
If that was the case, Citizen baited Ambi massively in that scenario, so, you know.
That was... It happens sometimes. Listen, when you're on global ops, you got to get him where you can.
I mean, you said you want to join our EU ranks exercise of Fresh and Friends, and you'll get baited there too, don't worry about it. I'm like,
That's fine.
I'm like-
I'm willing to die for the cause.
I'm like, Carter, you can plant, trust me.
I'm a team
Plants
player.
dies.
Nick's going to be like, I drawn it out. You're safe to plant. I walk in.
Oh.
There's 4 mirror windows, 3 evil eyes, 8 yokais. Like, great. Sick.
It happens sometimes.
It does not happen. You lied to me. Anyway,
Lying
back down to
happens.
basement. Speaking of mirror windows, we have one. The common one watching blue with the dummy rotate benefit here. Well, I would say it was a bigger benefit when you could cook nades and instantly kill
Yeah.
someone. Is you don't have to actually play inside a generator, which can be a very difficult position to play, especially once that hatch is open. But even without the presence of frag grenades anymore, you can still peek oil pit. I was going to call it sewer. I'm like, that's not
That's not the one.
peek oil pit if you want. All right, well, he's dead.
Oh.
Cool. Oh, wait, no, sorry, he's not dead. J-Lad is alive. O'Kills just died in blue anyway.
So if you got the mirror window looking into blue, why is there a player actively swinging and dying out of blue? That's the big
Speaking of
question.
which, J-Lad is also in... You can't... Yeah, you can see it now. J-Lad is also in blue.
Yep, he's like, it's my turn now to die, I guess.
You have a mirror window. You don't need to do this.
Exactly. It was like, I mean, these small things are what separates good teams from great, like you mentioned earlier, where this is not what Soniqs would do, for example. They would utilize the mirror window to their advantage and not die around it instead. But what is an issue for Soniqs is they're getting impact tricked on the kitchen hatch. Ibana was banned by Falcons. Getting hatches can be triggered here.
Located a
Kite
bomb.
open, impact tricks on the board. No factor in play for Soniqs either.
And this is a position where even really good teams can still struggle every now and then, trying to find the balance of putting down the hard bridge at the right time to maybe take down an Electro Claw that isn't placed on the hatch, while also dodging the impact trick, while also making sure that somehow you don't put yourself in an angle where they could shoot you through the impact trick hole.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult tightrope act to walk. But Soniqs, sure maybe can solve it, but it's costing them a lot of time, especially since they don't even have Moto hatch open. O-Kills might have fallen, but with that mirror window in blue, and J-Lad, I imagine, is now sitting firmly behind it. Soniqs are very quickly running out of time and at a very, very strong deficit in their positional control to mount a decisive execute in this next 20 seconds. They can do it. They can win gunfights. In fact, they have an execute where they just open up Ash while sprinting and plant. When E9 takes down Geo upstairs, sure, you might trade, but you're starting to run out of time. But Ambi sends it down blue, finds one, and while he's cut down, he's created an opportunity. He's created an opening. Grixer barely has enough time to get this diffuser down. He's got to start putting it on the floor, and Rexon needs to cover. He has to watch perfectly every single position, takes down the Dirt player, and Quibs doesn't see the diffuser in time. Grixer can now get back up, and it's an official 2v1 that Grixer domes and sends over the line for the Soniqs in the post plant.
And again, with the timer reaching 0, Falcons, they have one job there. They have 2 players, one bottom main stairs, one inside a third tunnel. Only 1 member covering the plant they're going down. All you gotta do is the guy inside a third will swing at the same time as the guy inside the bottom main stairs hallway, and one of them should get away with it, kill the person planting, and because timer is 0, the defenders will win the round. But instead, the third guy swings way too early, and Quips doesn't even find the angle for the planter either. Again, small mistakes with massive consequences, and just like before in Oregon, 0-3, timeout gets called.
We're at an even worse scoreline, though. At least before, Falcons were consistently getting kills in the mid to late round, and even if they lost the round, forcing Soniqs to make it a 4v3 or a 3v2, or in the case of round 1 on Oregon, a 1v1. This time, we do have a round that was very close, as that ended up being basically a 1v2 with Rexon's teammate planting the diffuser. He has to watch Dirt and main stairs, and in all honesty, Falcons should win that, assuming the communication is what it should be.
Yeah.
But just like round 1, there's communication problems. The players aren't swinging together. They're making weird decisions that if they handle the intel, they might not make. And I have to imagine now in the 0-3 position, that's something Twister likely did talk about, is saying, hey guys, we might have the right idea, but we're not executing it at the same time.
Yeah.
We're not getting on the same page. Or just making decisions that maybe we shouldn't be making in that situation. And now that they're 0-3, Falcons, at least on Oregon, they had a couple rounds where they said, all right, you know, we could be 2-2.
Yeah.
We could be 3-2 even. Right here, aside from that last round, it's been a very, very strong Soniqs performance.
And to make things worse, like that was around with Soniqs, they didn't have the right tools. They didn't have EMPs, limited heart breach, very low on time. That was like the prime position to take the round on defense. They don't. But on Oregon, when they were down 0-3, they called the timeout. They did win the following round, so this was right here in defense, and they very much need this because mentally as well, yeah, sure, Twister can talk to his players and be like, yo guys, chill, whatever, but if you call a timeout, you go 0-4 all of a sudden, it's like, okay, this is done, you know? Exactly.
We'll say interesting decision because we've only seen basement and gym and bedroom. I do think to be fair, I imagine Soniqs during the timeout maybe we're anticipating a CCTV defense, thinking, all right, Twister's going to tell them to try a new site. They're going to walk through the setup while also talking about the problems. We'll anticipate a CCTV attack. So instead, they decided to repeat gym, but it has that element of risk to it. Sure, you've gone to it before. You can adjust an existing setup instead of trying out a new one, but Soniqs have also seen what you have before. Downsides to every single option, but it does mean Falcons will repeat a bomb site in which Ambi got a 3K simply finding a gap on main stairs while creating one and then sprinting up the stairs, and the round ended pretty much flawlessly, if not so. Soniqs are instead going for a much more structured take at the start, trying to take down hardwitch denial, open up the jacuzzi wall, and through that very mav hole, or somewhere else, not entirely sure where actually, Grixer finds O-Kills.
Oh, he might have been third tunnel actually.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, the punch
it was
angle.
It was a headshot, so it had been either dirt tunnel or, I don't know, he really sprinted far out of strip.
Yeah. Well, I think it was indeed. Yep. So that's a tricky old angle there. Doesn't really pay off. But again, it's Soniqs with the advantage early on. That's the angle that we see right here from Rexon. And now it's like, okay, Solas is gone. Drones are hard to find. Flanking even more difficult so. But there is one positive Falcons. They still have control of CCTV cache. They still have that extension. Not that it matters all so much right now because Soniqs, they show no interest in that portion. We see all the silhouettes right now. 2 on jacuzzi, 1 on the gym window, and 1, I believe, also office hatch. So they are ready for a direct side take on all 5 members, actually. 4 breach in here and 1 office hatch.
And here we go. The flood in from jacuzzi. Ambi hops at gym window as well. Cuts down P9. Quibs does find 1, but Soniqs so firmly in the lead. Matskill's forced to retreat and help his teammates on the bomb site. 4-0 now for Soniqs. And as you said, perfect. The only element of risk there, Ambi's worried about the CC window. Doesn't matter. He just floods into gym with the rest of the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. When you see one gym window, 3 breach, 1 off his hatch, it's like, okay, now this is where you really wish you had that 5th gun on defense because there's so many angles to overcome. The thing is, what happened there, not everything was covered. Ambi dropped the off his hatch for free, got the flank unbanned, and that really opened things up immediately. So Okill dying early there again, a problem for Falcons. This is Clubhouse. You want to try and stay alive for as long as possible, play around utility, drone deny, hard reaching deny, etc. And that's just not really happening right now. And again, they will go to a bomb set that's already been tested and tried. Not gonna go bar, not gonna go CCTV. They're flip-flop between 2 sides that they're losing on, like, both times.
It's very, very concerning that we've not seen CC at this point. Because, I mean, listen.
It's not great, but it's different.
I mean, it is different, and I don't often, just because I lack a professional background, I don't start going into admonishments. But I mean, if we're just jumping back and forth between basement, gym, 2 sites
and losing, yeah.
I get CC's not great. I'm probably one of the biggest CCTV cache haters on the face of the earth.
Wow.
But you've got Wamai on the board. Sure, you don't have a zombie, but you've got Cade as well. For Garage. You have a lot of these standard operators that you can make it work.
You could do Tubaru stuff, right? Trick the wall.
I'm such an idiot. Yeah, you've got Tubarau out who can literally stall the platform breach if you can do it alongside a bandit. I get Thatcher's up, that makes it a little more difficult.
Maverick, but
there are options here that, because we've seen Clubhouse so much in the past 3 days, we know can work with Tubarau.
Yeah.
And the decision to go back down to basement. What are we really seeing that's different? Capcan. Kills again on the roam. I guess he's not extended that far up. Excellent shot by Citizen on that C4. That's one C4 already gone. Another, I believe, pre-placed. That's annoying for the sound.
Oh, it gets worse.
He's dead.
Yep. Again, you swing out aggressively, solo, no backup, shoot the body there, and be 7-4 to his name. Now Ying alive for basement execute. And the thing is, Falcons need 2 guns to take down one Soniqs member, but they keep doing it individually and just falling in those gunfights. It's frustrating to watch here. They need to listen to Twister. They gotta relax things down right now and start playing together like a team.
Which is why he's gonna run out of strip.
I swear.
I'm telling you, man. They're pushing dirt. It's gonna work this time. I've got it in the bag. Okay. Let's hear him out, okay? We have Bricks on drone in that position. We got some players around the kitchen, too. He could also go for a strip flank if he wants. Because Soniqs never did clear out the roam, there are still at least 2 players on that top floor. Ambi now seems to be committing at least to some aggression in the site. I definitely think there was some communication off there. Maybe not. No, all the kills flying Soniqs' way. Ambi sends his way on in. 3v2. Now a 2v2 as O'Kills has retreated down to the first floor. Very scrappy execute for the Soniqs, but one they recover once they find mad skills on the roam. As O'Kills has retreated, now the only anchor remaining.
So when Ambi pushed aside through dirt tunnel, it was to open up things for Rex. He was flanking from, he dropped down pits all the way down the blue hallway. So Ambi might have died. Rexon got a kill into bomb site control for a second, then got traded out. So it's a 1-for-2 trade technically, but of course things evened out eventually in that 2 versus 1 right now. Citizen and Geo up against O'Kills. And right now it's going to be Geo's out of dirt.
Let's say we got some glamour shots of Clubhouse going on, I suppose. Don't worry, we can still see the program feed, so assuming you can hear us, we'll tell you what's happening. O'Kill swinging Geo as he moves into dirt. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. O'Kills, though, he might very well not be. Has to reload the SMG-11 in close quarters, switches to the primary, and Geo with that secondary able to put Soniqs up 5-0. How's that tack timeout working out for them, Nick?
Well, when they took it, they were 0-3. They are currently 0-5. It's not really going.
It's not going great.
Well, you see, the issue here is when you take a tactical timeout, your opponent gets it as well. It's not like one-sided. So, Twister can talk to his teammates. Lauren, Goddess, can talk to her teammates. So, it's always difficult. You gotta kind of like this mind game of like, okay, when should we take a timeout where it benefits us more than our opponent? Well, this one wasn't it. But then again, is this on Twister, on Goddess? Is it their fault that things are going the way they are? No, right now it's very simple. Falcons are making some silly, fundamental mistakes that are not allowed to happen at this level of play. The 6 Invitationals, the 20 best teams in the world. And I will give them excuses because I think it's justified. They had sub-players come in due to these issues. Main roster fired in like yesterday or like the day before that evening. Didn't sleep, played a game, got a little bit of sleep last night, playing again. They are playing under less than ideal circumstances. But even then, these kinds of mistakes, the lack of team play, it shouldn't be happening. This looks like it's the sub players playing, not the main roster.
Yeah, and I think it's perfectly valid. In fact, we should contextualize the situation that they are playing under unideal circumstances.
Yeah.
Subs on day 1, jet lag on day 2, likely still jet lag on day 3 if the very, very quick turnaround is to be believed, which I do, obviously, because I'm here. I saw them fly in. But the mistakes are still happening.
Yeah.
Even if they're understandable, they're still costing them the game.
You're also still playing gym basement.
Yeah, I like
6 rounds.
Last round on defense, guys. We're really not giving Soniqs another look. That's not jet lag's problem.
The good thing is, if they play pop-ups in the future, they have been they've hit 2 bomb sites. Okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Long term, this is a big win.
It's funny you mention that. The streets were saying they've got the greatest bar stage setup of all time. Literally, like, 8 years in the making. And
yeah. Ambi is having a live game right now, winning every single gunfight you put in front of him.
O'Kills has 50 bullets. 50 bullets. He pre-fires Ambi. Ambi is mid-rappel up onto the balcony. He still gets the kill. We are in bad shape, fellas. Oh, the first opportunity misses. Ambi gets it anyway. Well, maybe this is divine intervention is what this is for Ambi.
Yeah, great sentence ashore. Gets down to one, finished off with the green box will save his life, and with that, Falcons, they fall off the surrender bomb site, or sorry, the extensive control that they had. Cash surrendered.
Yeah, it's not the bomb site, because they never go to cash.
No. No, they don't. Flank around? I think they got the read on it. Falk is down there. Oh, they got the read on it.
No, Ambi's not thinking. Ambi's wired in.
He's falling before.
Ambi,
oh! Almost the triple there. Actually, almost the quad.
E9's back into it. Oh, Geo's down too. We are so back. Falcons put Citizen in the 1v3. How did we get here? I literally thought this was going to be a 6-0. And now, not only is Citizen having to fight a mirror window in Logi, the diffuser is also in Logi.
Seconds left.
Falcons get their first round. They don't need to go to CCTV, Nick. Third time's the charm for Jim Third time's the charm for Jim Bedroom. I just wanted to check. It's still a 1-5 half on the most defender-sided map at SI currently. And they didn't use 2 round once.
I'm processing.
Did they use Bandit even?
Once on Jim. Huda. Yeah. When Ambi rushed in with the red ping and office in the hatch, Bandit was there. Yes. But they had Mavericks, so they didn't do anything.
Got it to Bandit. Yeah, they did. They just blew it up.
Yep.
Well, they didn't blow it up. They
torched it, then
thermited it through the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Bandit through C4, missed it. You know, no big deal.
Yeah. So look, we got a Tuber out and Bandit in the first round from the Soniqs.
On basement. What I love though is that you're like this is like when you play ranked, any team picks the same side 2-3 times in a row, the ultimate disrespect, pick that same side, win it. So I want to see Soniqs win this bomb site, go Gym next round, win Gym 7-1.
Be honest though, how funny would it have been if they picked CCTV?
I mean, that's also funny.
Yeah. First side on the defense. CCTV with Tuber out and Bandit.
It's like,
I'd cheer like I just won the Super Bowl.
It's like, did you guys know that there is another third bomb site?
Dude, guys, do you know there's another bomb site on the 2nd floor?
It's called CCTV, and funny thing, you know, it's been there since the very original version of Clubhouse.
Yeah, but Cash was like this weird, it was like the end of a neighborhood, like you just couldn't get out. It was like jail.
It literally was like the end of a neighborhood.
It was like jail. It's easier to get into than get out of.
That's so silly.
It's a good analogy.
It is really, really good.
Ambi 9-6, picking up his performance from an all-right map 1.
Yeah, all-right.
Not great, not terrible. This map, shout out to Ambi at the 9-6 scoreline. Of course, as you said, we are downstairs inside a church and arsenal. Ambi's going to sit here with that pre-play C4 the entire round. I'd love that, actually.
No, if he actually hits that, not to get a kill, but like he loops it through, that right there is like a star in my book. Because Ambi can kill, he can push, but once you know the lineups.
I was about to say, like, that's one of the most common C4 lineups. I could do that lineup.
Okay, but Ambi doesn't strike me as a guy who can do it necessarily at first glance.
Whoa. Okay, that's Aerial Rise Academy star player Ambi right there.
That's not disrespectful. Like, his position and his role might not call for it, you know?
I suppose.
I just want to see if he can.
I suppose that's true.
point in which I realized I retired 2 years ago was when I failed that C4 and I was like, damn, I forgot a lot of things.
Or to the point where you realized you retired 3 years ago was when I attributed the theme park impact trick to DS Lucas instead of you.
Oh my god, yes, how dare you.
Anyway, Mad Skills picking the Jackal, which we saw Quick's pick on Oregon. He's moving down the main stairs. I'm gonna probe a little bit for info, Nick. But aside from that, it's all still on the middle floor. Though, in some ways, this attack is a little bit quicker than Soniqs was at sometimes.
Yeah, it was, but still a lot of things we checked off here. Toxic Babe's gone out early, Geo buying time, Oku's bought a main, C4 here, if kind of ready still, might hit its mark. It's not, oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, it's ready.
There we go.
Nice hook to screw, gets a kill. Ambi's little C4 in hand, I think he actually whiffed it. It might be on the wall, because I don't see it anywhere.
Ooh, Ambi.
I think he missed it.
Missing that C4. Chainlad dropping right into Citizen Spray with the DMR. P9 going for the trade. Will find it. Now him and Mad Skills might be able to pinch out this player inside a church.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. P9 finds Ambi. C4-less inside of church. 4 kills for P9. Really wish his name was P4 right now, but will not complain. The Falcons get their first convincing win, really convincing win this game.
Worst timing ever for Grixer, right? He's holding the angle. The second he goes prone and it makes him go hip fired, he gets swung by P9, he dies. P9 had 1 HP left to his name. It's a good start on the attacking side, but oh boy, they gotta do this many more times. And you and I can see, Carter, the next bomb site will be da-da-da, dot-dot-dot. Wait for it. Da-da-da! Wait for it.
No! No! Turn those lights off!
Wait for it. Wait. Da-da-da! Come on. CCTV!
And there's no tuber out.
And there's no tuber out. But
It's
there
not.
is a bandit.
Yeah, it's not a troll. There's no tuber out. He's just very. Also,
Maestro.
trying. I was trying to point out the drones. There was one drone last round.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, there's 2 drones left. Surely Falcons don't have any information to get these remaining kills. Oh, P9 got all of them. Well, he's just better. He is. I mean, in that case, he was just better.
Yeah.
He very much was. For this particular defensive setup for Soniqs, I will say, some of the usual suspects missing. Sometimes, if you really want to protect that garage position, you bring a Cade, put the electric claws in those garage walls, but there are none. Instead, they're really focusing on the bandit and, in all likelihood, the bandit trick for Grixer.
Okay.
Also, no tuberao, as I mentioned earlier, and a zombie ban. So a lot of the stuff that really makes CCTV Cash super playable is surprisingly absent from this lineup.
Yeah.
At least in what I think.
No, you're not wrong. And the thing is, Maverick is the counter to Tuber and Bandit. So just a good recognition here from Falcons. Hey, CCTV, you play Maverick, we're comfy on it. And the thing is, Soniqs, they don't really have any of the usual answers to the map. There's no mirror windows, no like 6 impacts flying at the Maverick, etc. So I feel like maybe an oversight here from Soniqs. They're surrendering the main breach very early. Now we also see Falcons. They've chosen to go for the roam clear master bedroom side as well. So likely going to be a construction side of push. And it makes sense. There's no capital. Grenades can suck. There's none of those either. You kind of need to go master bedroom here, realistically, if you're Falcons.
I can't believe we actually saw a genuine grenade kill earlier.
Yeah?
Not on a DBNO player in the SSG game. I casted.
It's true.
Shout out to me. What do you mean? Oh, I saw it. J-Lad down to 50 HP, trying to tangle with the players inside of the site. To Falcons' credit, they opened that plat wall extremely quickly. By the first minute, it was already soft and already had a hole in it. And honestly, I've seen teams that with slightly better reputations than Falcons really struggle with that Maverick trick at times. So, good for them. That's a genuinely good point. Now, as you said, they need to start splitting and go for that construction push, which you have presence on that side. With Ambi down below, he very well could flank them up main stairs, and Falcons are aware of it, but if it comes late, Falcons might be too focused on the front side.
Yeah, the thing is, Ambi is technically buying a fair bit of time here. He's got 2 players' attention as a kitchen door and on the main staircase. So if Ambi reaches the situation correctly, he might get something going for him, but there is a flank watch on the main stairs. So close to get out alive for now. What? Oh no! So he pushed past, killed the guy who saw the gadget through the floor, then finds the flank watcher and now finally dies. But that is massive damage done to the side of Falcons.
We also got to give credit to Ambi. He's literally getting shot at. He's like, I'm still killing this guy upstairs. I do not care. O'Kills just cuts his losses. Yin Candela's in, hops in through the window. and Soniqs just shut it down completely. Quibs running in through the plat wall breach, finds that the execute has collapsed before he's even arrived to the party. Match point now for Soniqs, 6-2. No timeout for Falcons either to pause and cool down.
I love Ambi. I mean, that's exactly what I see from him after Org. I'm like, he can do more. He can be more exciting. This is the exciting Ambi that I saw on Twitter many, many, many years ago when it's like 14. Because I remember the first time I ever saw Ambi, it was like, I think it was Old Cafe, and he's like in piano, and he like flicks the ceiling, flicks the floor, kills the guy at the floor. Like one tap wall bang. I was like, and people are like, this guy's cheating. He's cheating. He's so good.
Attackers need to
He was like
locate
13,
and
14.
defuse bombs.
Now he's 18. He's in pro league. And he's swinging.
He's like, I've just been put to 1 HP by the pair of 308.
Yeah, don't care.
I got a job to do.
Yep, I saw this guy. I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, there's a guy on his drone, and you best believe there's an impact P90 wombo combo coming his way from a floor below.
Yep.
Yeah, good work to Ambi, who I believe the team was also giving some credit to. Yeah. At least we did, by showing his face and his very stoic reaction for Ambi. Match point now for the Soniqs. This is their map pick, as we mentioned, and not that fact is necessarily pertinent, considering it's, you know, the one map they need to win to be at 2-0. But it demonstrates at least that, especially on Oregon, where they were also up 6-2. Soniqs have been in firm command of this series overall. Falcons have really struggled to find a way in, and Soniqs, once we get to territory that's comfortable for them, they dropped 1 defense, dropped 1 attack. Beyond that, up until this point, it's been firmly in their territory.
And the big talking point for us was that Falcons, they really want to go at least the 3rd map, get that 1 point to get them ahead of Scars in their group. Because this very well might be a 2-0, at least we think so at this moment in time, they're going to be in a very dire situation. Because between Falcons and Scars, they're going to be going home, but they will face one another in, I believe, 2 days from now. Yes. The final day of the group. That final day is probably going to decide the outcome of this group.
Yeah, this is, like you just said, this is Falcons' second to last match. They are off tomorrow, whereas Scars are playing. Scars are playing Los, who are likely going to be the 2nd best team in this group, of course, depending on what happens in the tomorrow in the Los Fury game, because that is a contest for 2 and 3 with Fury getting 2 wins. But if Scars lose tomorrow, and that last game really does become important, Scars has a leg up on them because of the map they took off of Fury. So Falcons losing this, especially at such a dominant scoreline, is really going to hurt them, not only in the actual placements, but even some of our tiebreaker categories. So running up the scoreboard, even if in a loss, is an absolute imperative. Falcons...
He baited the C4 and his teammate died! He's like, J-Rod, massive brain, baits it, runs out, but Okyo is like, I'm gonna get in there, and he dies.
I have to say it's moments like that where I really love being a cash. Oh, Ambi! The snapshot outside on the plat wall.
Good night.
P9 and Quibs, again, in positions they have to recover. P9 actually 11-6 right now, putting up a pretty decent performance. Best performance in the lobby behind Ambi in terms of kills. So there is that, which is a positive, but
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, everything else so far for Falcons this round and in this series overall has really been a struggle to match against SQ. At least before, when it was 6-2, they forced a timeout out of Soniqs after they won a couple rounds to make it 6-3. Here, 2v4, Nick.
The match point round on Oregon where Soniqs they won was very convincingly on their side, and this looks like a similar story for so many reasons. And again, you are out at the bottom side, locked out, they find one, P9, 12 kills now tied with Ambi, but they need a couple more kills like that to have a chance in this round.
I don't know, dropping the GG after Ambi just died is necessary, but Citizen finds P9, the top performing player in the lobby, and they know Clibs is outside on the metal balcony window. I'm not calling GG, but it's GG. 7-2 victory for the Soniqs in their pick, following a 7-3 victory, and at this point, barring a major upset by Fury, Soniqs have very likely confirmed their first place position in this group, but we can say they're sure as hell top 2.
You know, the crazy thing is that, you know, JC did the fantasy group. You were in it, I'm in it, JC's in it, Super is also in it. He's got 4 Soniqs players on his fantasy league team, and he might actually be like top 3 at this point.
I will say, picking almost entirely the Soniqs was a very smart early game strategy, assuming Soniqs win a lot of their games, I will say. And they did. They're now 3-0 in the group so far, 3-0 in terms of their record, but 6-0 in terms of maps, which, going into the final day, was, I believe, they're actually in the exact same position last SI. They just had to see who would win, M&M or Soniqs. I don't have the exact timeline, but if last year Soniqs were at least had a competitor in this group, now that they beat Los, who so far, definitely in terms of history, seems to be one of the biggest challengers they have, all they have left is Fury, who, even with their victory, still has a lot.
A lot of kills, by the way, like that, or... The Oregon highlight reel alone was like a full game. Like, there were so many kills, so much chaos, so much back and forth. And the thing is, the scoreline was pretty one-sided, but at least in Oregon, there were so many close moments. Citizen, 2 individual 1v1s, most rounds down to a 2v2 and a 3v3, etc. Whereas Clubhouse, that was definitely a bit more one-sided.
Yeah, it was a couple 1v1s, like you said. Could have been a 7-5. If Falcons were not in the lead or did not win the round, well, this is with benefit of hindsight, of course, but if Falcons were not winning the round, they were absolutely losing it on Clubhouse. It was not a particularly close contest in a lot of these occasions, and even with some maybe over-aggression by the Soniqs, it wasn't punished nearly enough by Falcons. The Soniqs were allowed to get away with quite a lot. So again, Soniqs now 6-0 in the maps, and Falcons, who have the day off tomorrow, they only have 1 game left in this group, and it will be against Scars, where their immediate competitors in the position above them might very well come down to that. And if the jet lag was still a problem, they have a day to cool off. But we need to see them show up if we want at least 1 MENA representative.
Yeah. I mean, it's completely in their hands. They are still in a good position because it's not like they rely on a tiebreaker from other teams' impacts. So, no, if they beat Scars outright, as soon as Scars, lose to those, they're gonna be fine. So, it's up to them. Stats, though, Citizen's still the main man here, EPS-wise, but Ambi with the big show in there, 12-9.
I mean, Geo's even getting on the positive EPS action. 108, sure. 108. Is it a lot? No, but Geo sometimes, even in great games, be like, oh, cool, I have a 0.7 to show for that. Really,
support life.
Really happy about that. Exactly, support life.
J-Lat, though.
Oh, is that our first donut?
There's no way it's our first donut.
It might be our first donut.
08 is a donut of significance, especially in this kind of scenario, that's for sure.
It's a donut of unfathomable proportions.
Yeah, it's tough. And I mean, I'm not laughing because, like, haha, Jalen is bad. It's more like it's a tough situation to be in for his team, and, like, he really just didn't show up today on Clubhouse.
And you know what? If we want to be positive, sure, like, maybe the entry stats weren't great, for example, but Quibs and Oak Hill still having 100% cost somehow. In a map where you got 7-2.
How does that happen?
That's insane. Like, that's actually kind of impressive.
Ooh.
And, of course, for the overall stats,
6 deaths for Citizen
over the course of the entire series. 95% cost, and the only person in the lobby to drop over 20 kills.
2 clutches, 3 opening kills, plus 19. I wish he was on my fantasy team.
I don't... listen, I don't want to make any burly statements. Well, that is at least in contention for an MVP of the day performance.
That certainly is, yeah.
I don't know the exact stats. I'm not a mathematician,
but it's up there.
Nor can I read. But just from vibes alone and the color that's highlighting it, I'd have to assume he's in contention for it.
Yeah. Also, just like Soniqs' vibes now they sit in the server, they're phenomenal. Like, they're laughing, they're smiling, they're hyped up, etc. And I love to see it because I've seen Citizen be a happy lad, a sad lad. I like the screen iteration.
A mad lad.
A J lad.
Always
a mad lad. Certainly not a J lad. Didn't drop 0 kills. But I love what they're doing. I think they've done a great job at showcasing us a fun, interactive Soniqs with some role changes, some spies on top of it. Ambi, great look here as well. Excited to see what they can do going forward.
And of course, it is our last match of the day.
Yep.
A relatively quick one to end things off. 7-3, 7-2, as we just talked about. But only 8 p.m. I can still have dinner. Let's check out the standings, of course, for the day, because given it's our last map, it's been a long time. Let's check out the groups we've seen. As we mentioned and talked about already quite a few times, Soniqs are by far and away in first place. Fury theoretically could still overtake them if they beat the Soniqs tomorrow, and then, of course, would solidify it if they win against Los. But I think Soniqs, whether you're a fan or the team, feel they're in a very comfortable position right now.
They're locked in all bracket base at this point, right? And the thing is, minus 25 round differential on Team Falcons, tiebreaker-wise, it's not looking good for them. They got an outright win over Scars to make it here.
Head-to-head or nothing.
It really is, yeah.
So that final map of the day, if you're Scars, the final match of this group, if you're Scars, or sorry, if you're Falcons, is of the utmost importance. But of course, today, it's been almost 2-0s all the way through. The one exception is that Fury versus Scars game that happened just before this, that also inadvertently kind of put Falcons in this position in the first place. Then on the other side of things, from the earlier Group B, we had Wolves with the 2-0 over D+, and the 2-0 for Space Station.
You're still sad about that,
I am sad about it because Bliss have had 2 very close games, 7-5, 8-6 both times, against opponents that they have beat before. Or, sorry, not true. Have almost beat before. Well, in the case of Wolves, they beat them in a best of 1. But have almost beat before at Atlanta. I hope and have a lot of high standards for them. I want to see them succeed.
I'm happy for you, and I'm sad because they didn't really make it, but tomorrow's a new day, right? Tomorrow is a new day.
It is a new day. And we also have an Intel Play of the Series for you. You know, the one where we're like, hey, what was the best series? Now let's watch that again. Because who doesn't want to watch a really great moment? I would guess, if you want to take any bets real quick, Ambi's 3K running up main stairs. That could be one.
Okay.
But Citizen and a couple 1v1s as well, but those aren't as flashy.
P9 Russian Blue. I know they lost, but, you know.
That's a show. Okay. But we're not gonna do that to you. Do you want to know why? It doesn't matter. We don't care. At least Nick and I don't, because we're hungry. No, I'm just kidding. We love you very much. Thank you all for watching on Rainbow Six Bravo today, and we will see you tomorrow.